The transatlantic slave trade. This refers to the trade between West Africa and the American continent and Europe. During this period of history, the European traders in West Africa, for example the Portuguese, the Spanish, the British, etc., they named various parts of the west coast of Africa according to the commodity, the main commodity that they traded with the locals in that location. Looking at the map, you will see that the area presently known as Liberia/Sierra Leone was known on this map as the Grain Coast. Where the trade was in ivory, the area became known as the Ivory Coast, although this is not depicted on this particular map as it came later. Then you see the Gold Coast, which is present-day Ghana. Next to that, you see the Slave Coast. This convention of naming the area that they traded with according to the main commodity being taken from that area gives us a lot of information to unravel. Most people who explore their history in West Africa have never heard of a specific location called the Slave Coast. Therefore, it is not uncommon for African Americans, African Caribbeans, Black British people who are seeking their roots to assume that present-day Ghana is their home. What many of these people do not realize is that whilst there were slave-holding dungeons in Ghana, formerly Gold Coast, the occupants largely came from the interior of that coastline, i.e. the Slave Coast. At this point, I should mention that there was also a sub-Saharan slave trade which existed before this transatlantic slave trade and was between sub-Saharan Africa and the Arab states, and far more Africans were involved in this trade than in the transatlantic slave trade. But this is beyond the scope of this short video. What I would like to make clear, however, is that discussing these topics is not about pointing the finger or blaming. It's about us beginning to think about and consider why these things happened in history. There is an answer, and I'm hoping that in time it will become clear to us so that we can do something to remedy the causes and change the future direction. There is something in the history of the Ewe people that caused them to be the target of such scourge throughout the whole world. Here is some footage taken of a slave dungeon nearer to the Slave Coast region of West Africa.
Live there, and they were dying to insanity conditions. The water, the poison under the door. They have to use their tongue to lick it. Food was thrown to them. They have to struggle for it, and finally they use hot iron with the name of the company to mark their body just to make them very attractive to the buyer. And then Samori and Babatus in the north, they were raiding, kidnapping, and they challenged some of their slaves through the traffic into the fort over here. So when the slaves arrived over here, they were sorted away, branded, and then they opened their mouth to estimate their age by the state of their teeth.
Did they Did the Danish target a specific group of people
No,
for
yes,
slaves?
no, they
Was there a
buy-
specific type they liked to take for slaves?
Yes, they have this and the young ones who are active, who can work in the sugarcane.
From this area?
Yes, this area. And beyond, Togo, Benin, the northern side too of Volta, those slaves pass through this world to the Caribbean. So over here, this is quite a famous slave bath. So when they are taking bath, governors stand at the top, point at the one he admired, sleep with them. That's why you have a lot of mulatto as a result of that. And the water they bath will remain here in case they are thirsty. They did the same water that they were bathing with. So the governor just found it. Now the talking before the city is part of it. So some of the slaves were generally, they secure the slave like this. They will turn one right leg to another left leg. So they will pour the water into the gutter. It runs through into the gutter. Because they fear that when they open to give them food or water, they attack them. And then when they are about to be taken away, they starve them for 2 days so that they can weep. And they lead them through the tunnel to the gate of no return. From there, they were taken away.
So the tunnel would have been here?
Yeah,
But the tunnel is gone now?
Yeah.
Right.
Long tunnel. These are the chains they used to chain their neck. We look at the keys to some of the damage that happened by the slave master. I came close to my. So this one was where they kept them hardened slaves. The strong ones were kept over here. They died to heat, suffocation, and